Well, he has received forgiveness once. Should he get it again? New York City mayoral candidate Anthony Weiner asking voters for a second chance after confessing to another batch of explicit texts and photos that folks just got a look at over the course of the last 24 hours. They were sent a year after he was forced to resign from Congress and made those first round of apologies when it seemed that all of this was going to be put into the past. Yesterday, his wife Huma stood beside him. Weiner reminded us all that he warned that this could happen again.
I said there were more things out there. You have as a fixed time, the resignation as the important moment in the public discussion. That was when the public got a glimpse into something that we had been working on before, during, and since. And this behavior of mine was part of that. And when we went through this process and we became closer and worked through some of these challenges, we put it behind us, and I put it behind me. And frankly, we're in a lot better place today, or else I would not have run for mayor.
Okay, there it is. Look at this great group we have to discuss this. David Webb is the host of The David Webb Show on Sirius XM. He's also the co-founder of Tea Party 365. Leslie Marshall is a syndicated talk show host. And Dr. Keith Abloh is a forensic psychologist and a member of our Fox News medical aid team. And boy, does Dr. Abloh has work cut out for him with this one. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Let's get this into the mix as well. This is Huma Abedin when she stood next to her husband yesterday. Let's listen to that.
I made the decision that it was worth staying in this marriage. That was a decision I made for me, for our son, and for our family. Anthony's made some horrible mistakes, both before he resigned from Congress and after. But I do very strongly believe that is between us and our marriage.
All right, David, let's start with you. What do you think?
It would be great if it was between him and his wife, and that was all it was. But look, we have someone here that is, one, continued bad behavior, who is going to make public policy and has shown that he can't even be honest. You just said it, Martha, that August 2012, the continued text, the explicit online messages, that this didn't end with his resignation. He didn't have his road to Damascus and say, I'm going to do the right thing here. And kudos to her for standing up next to her husband. I always ask why from these women, but this guy's going to make public policy. He's potentially compromisable, and he worked for government since he left college, went to work for Chuck Schumer. He knows no other way. And do we really want to put someone like that in the leadership in New York City, who has proven that he cannot do the job without compromising not only his position, but potentially the city?
That is the question before voters in New York. Leslie, what do you think?
Well, I know everybody expects me as the Democrat to champion one in my party, but I'm a woman before I am a Democrat. You know, I could forgive somebody for making an error, seeing the error of their ways, and moving forward. The problem is, you know that old cliche, you do it once, shame on you, twice, shame on me? Well, there's a lot of shame here. My problem as a woman is the treatment of other women, the sexual inappropriateness of the position, and although I have great respect for his wife, I would have kicked my husband to the curb personally. When she stands there and says it's between the two of them, it really isn't, because when you are in public office, you put before the public a lot of your personal life. And David, honest politicians, really? So the bottom line here for me is I don't think he's ready to run for mayor, because I don't think he has truly moved on from his inappropriate, bad sexual and perverse behavior.
We'll see. Narcissism is a word that has been associated with this story, Dr. Keith. And you wonder, when you've got so much at stake, your wife, this little baby that they brought into the world as well, what pushes somebody to keep going through this when they've got all of this going on, and to drag the wife out there and do the whole thing? She says she's out there because she wants to be, and she probably is, but it's a mess.
Yeah, listen, I'm all about figuring out why people do things. And the answer in this case is not reassuring as to the electorate. The why of why somebody would, despite being found out once, feel compelled to keep sending out naked pictures of himself to strangers relates to feelings of incredible low self-esteem, questions about one's manhood. And you can't trust such a person to not do things in the public domain that pump him up and make him feel good, which may not be the best thing for the city, or when he was a congressman, for the country. So you have a guy who's psychologically hobbled, who you are entrusting with the public good, who may not be able to exercise that because he has private demons. Should his wife keep him as a husband? I don't know. I don't favor dissolving families over sexual peccadillos. But should the country have him, or a city, as a leader? No, of course not. He's not well.
You know,
What about the reality that this guy is essentially an internet sex predator when you look at what he's said and what he's done? I mean, if someone else, if you or I, if any one of us did this, especially the guys, we would be labeled and we would possibly be prosecuted as internet sex predators. We would face that.
Well, it seems
not
like
if the person was of age.
Yeah, I mean, it appears that that's not a factor, at least in this case. The person was 22 years old. You know, what I would just say is where's shame and where's humility? Peggy Noonan wrote a really great piece a week or so ago about the John Profumo affair in England, and I won't go into the details of it, except that it was a huge scandal. And he dropped out of public life and basically, you know, turned himself to charity and his wife and his family, and ended up being honored by Margaret Thatcher by the end of his life for how humble he was. Have we completely lost that idea in our society now, Dr. Keith?
Look, I think we have lost it in a haze of internet and Facebook postings where shame is the victim, because if you can be a celebrity, that's all you have to be. Notorious is as good as honored in many spheres. Now, look, you know, if Anthony Weiner wanted to come forward and say, this is my sexual orientation, I'm a sexter, that's who I am, well, then people could judge him and he could make a determination. His wife could judge him too, but he doesn't want that. He wants to be Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. That doesn't work because you can't trust such a person.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Great to hear from all of you on this. David Webb,
Good to
Leslie
have you back,
Marshall,
Martha.
Dr. Keith, great to see you all.
So we
Take
have
care,
a
Martha.
medical